mysterious note? He thought I might be some assistant.
Aha! Might I assume that from your unusual manner of speech that you are a foreign-born person of Hungarian descent who has only just recently learnt our language?
You may not. I've been licking stamps for the past 15 minutes and can't seem to get the glue off my tongue.
Oh, see, now what did I tell you?
Well, it sounded Hungarian.
Oh, you must be Inspector Braddock. I'm Nancy Stafford, the housekeeper. There'll be a wedding in a fortnight, and I was hastening to get the invitations ready for the morning post.
Oh, I just adore weddings. Oh, who's the lucky couple?
No, really, Alma, is that any of your business?
Can you be absolutely certain?
Well,
It's the wedding of our son Algernon to Miss Phoebe Cavendish.
Oh, not the famous fashion designer. Oh, how I'd adore to be able to afford one of her designer frocks. Elegant, that's what they are. Oh, your son is a lucky man.
No, Alma, do you really think that he would avail himself to one of her designer frocks? Would he?
Really, Inspector? No, that is a ludicrous image.
Excuse me, but that mysterious message? I really must get back to my stamps.
I say, don't you have a sponge pad or some such? Tongue licking is so unpleasant.
It's gone dry. Bone dry. Until we get the new shipment of fishing from the government, I'm afraid there's just no water available in this whole house. Haven't been able to bathe for the past 24 hours.
Nancy, no water? And guest due at any moment? Why was I not informed?
I'm sorry, Lady Monica. I thought you knew. I spoke to Lord Clyde about it late yesterday afternoon. He said nothing to you about it?
Not a word. Oh, Clyde and his all-consuming hobby. I swear sometimes I could just take his unabridged dictionary and brain him with it.
Get out there!
Here you are! You wretch! How could you have failed to inform me that there's no water with guests due?
Water? What are you? Oh, I say! I have been a bit remiss. Yes, Nancy told me about it yesterday. It seems our dear departed Dora cooked the fish, and so, of course, we can't trust the water in the storage tanks to be free of mosquito larvae.
Cooked the fish? But that's criminal! That utterly stupid woman!
That's why Nancy fired her, I suppose.
So she's the reason we only had Mimosa to do the cooking for a house full of guests? I suppose I ought to fire her in return.
Miss Jasmine Purdue!
Oh, Monica! I'm due to declare this is the loveliest house I've ever seen in my born days. Oh, and the flowers and the trees, the incredibly blue sky, the big you live like this all year round, and the servants besides.
How very happy I am you can make it, Jasmine. Perhaps you should rest after your trip.
Oh, but aren't you going to introduce me to these lovely people?
Of course I am. That's our maid, Mimosa. My husband, Clyde, whom you already know. Nancy Stafford is our housekeeper. Of course, our butler, Remley, introduced himself at the front door. And Detective Inspector Braddock and his assistant, Sergeant Threedle.
Oh! Damn! It is all I can do to get my lips apart! Would anyone mind if I went out on the balcony and stood facing upward with my mouth open?
Take my drink, Nancy. I haven't touched it. I can make a fresh one.
Oh, thank you, Mom. Where is it?
Right there on the coffee table.
Ah! Dear me! We are really in for it!
Couldn't come soon enough for me. I've never felt so sticky in my life.
Darling, the word is pronounced stinky. Why, do you know, that is positively scary! I could really use that drink now.
And here now, that's straight bourbon. It'll taste positively foul with the glue from the stamps. Let me make you a wine spritzer instead.
Why, thank you, Lord Rickenham. Clyde, you astound me. Since when have you become so helpful? You usually bring Remley for everything, even to sharpen your pencils.
Oh, he's much too busy now. When a storm this big breaks, he has to secure every window in the house.
Oh, somebody's already closed off the balcony. I'll just see to the kitchen then.
No need, Remley. Mimosa never opens a window. Like the positively torrid in there. I'm surprised you people don't have central air conditioning in this flat.
Never really needed it. Blasted Island is so narrow, we get sea breezes from all directions most of the year. Central air conditioning would be quite superfluous.
And expensive.
Not easy, good Dr. Monica. I admire a man who's careful with his money.
Excuse me, but did you say doctor?
Yes, father is a neurosurgeon.
A world-famous neurosurgeon.
Actually, you saved my life not too long ago, for which I shall be forever grateful.
Nonsense! Piece of cake! Nothing simpler than a cervical laminectomy with fusion, though it does take a confounded long time.
I hope this house house at least has lightning rods. Well, actually it does, Miss Purdue. This high on a cliff, we'd be sitting ducks in a thunderstorm otherwise.
I say, I didn't hear the weather report for this evening. Was this storm expected?
Was this about the forecast, Inspector? Was it important?
Well, if our mysterious and ominous snow writer knew that this storm
What's the storm got to do with it anyways?
They might have removed the lightning rod.
Oh dear me! Wait a second, the motion. This house is on solid ground, I hope. What with the rain and all that wind, you know, situate on the brink of cliffside.
So Coral, I believe. Coral is really as strong as granite, isn't it? I mean, Coral Island seemed to weather hurricanes nicely.
But the buildings and people almost never survive.
Oh, I wish you hadn't said that.
But it's true.
That's why I wish you hadn't said it. Oh, Mimosa. Sorry, Lady Monica, would you mind ever so much if I use your telephone?
Here now, that's my telephone. I pay the bills around here.
Except not exactly cheerfully.
Well, whoever it is, might I use it?
A bit late to check the weather report, is it not?
Actually, I was going to call a lady friend of mine. She's quite a klutz, I'm afraid, and I was going to ensure she arrives home safely in the storm.
Oh, very well, very well.
Would you care to sit down, Inspector?
Oh, no thank you, this won't take long. Hello, might I talk with Miss Magoo, please? Maisie? Oh, her roommate. Well, when do you expect her in? That's very odd. Well, when she does arrive home, please tell her I called, will you? Thank you. She has a job interview of all things.
Well, I do hope she glamors up a little bit. A librarian and looks at more as a hair in a bun, thick eyeglasses, shapeless sweaters, sensible shoes.
Oh, do you mind? I really don't think it's pertinent to these people.
To a Frenchman, romance is always pertinent.
Now stop it here. One more romantic peep out of you, and I swear I'll...
Now, didn't we settle this out in the kitchen? Pear is free to stay as long as he does not make any more numerous advances.
I say, there's someone in the balcony.
How did he get there?
Why don't we have him in and ask him?
He must be the killer.
I just knew it could be any of us.
Don't be ridiculous. I've never seen this man before in my life.
We're all in the midst of a memory lapse after all. Be careful, Roderick. He may be armed.
Roderick! My given name, people seldom use it.
Well, whoever you're going as, let me assure you all, I am not armed.
I'm sure you can explain what you were doing out on that balcony, though.
Even more so, how you got there.
It is rather dizzying drop to the seashore below.
If you must know, I scaled the cliff face, realized there were people in the room, and then lost my nerve about to climb down. It's easier going up. You don't realize how devilishly high you are, but reversing course without even being able to see where to place your feet. I was just afraid to chance it.
Just a moment. There are no unoccupied houses on this section of the coast.
And who said there were, Alma?
He did. Well, not so many words, of course, but why else would he be surprised to find there were people in this room otherwise?
My thoughts exactly. Why did you assume this room was empty, young man? And tell the truth, or it'll go harder on you at your trial.
Trial? What trial? Trial on what charge?
Well, we can start with breaking and entering.
Except he hasn't broken anything.
And gladly let him in.
I knew
And
that.
who the bloody hell are you anyway? Mucking about, threatening people with legal action.
Is Chief Inspector Benjamin Braddock of the Hamilton CID?
That does not give him the right to go about threatening people.
Doesn't it?
Chief Inspector, aren't you quite forgetting about the murder?
Not both murders?
Oh, yeah.
Back onto the bookcase?
Back on the bookcase?
Well, the inspector noticed when the light came up, it had been moved to the mantel from its original location on the bookcase.
Yes, of course. First thing I saw, and that told me everything.
About what?
Tell her, Sergeant.
Oh, I say, Sergeant, you don't mean to tell me that the bullet hole has gone through the bottom corner of my priceless gown.
What a terrible tragedy.
Oh, it would be, if that's where the bullet stopped.
You mean it isn't?
Then why was the base moved?
To hide the fact that this painting is not the priceless Gauguin. Nancy, if you please.
Certainly.
That's not my Gauguin.
It's a fraud. A clumsy imitation. A fake.
But if this painting's not the original,
Where is the original?
right where the killer hid it.
I am not the killer! Oh, blast! Algernon Wickenham, I place you under arrest for the murder of...
He's not the killer.
But you said...
That was merely to make the thief of the Gauguin blurt out his or her identity. Theft is not a capital crime, but murder is. I rather suspect. Murder! You murder!
This is quite important.
Heard about like helpless cattle. I'll never be able to persuade people to come here again.
The scandal could ruin my career. What the well-dressed suspect wears to a murder.
I do hope, Inspector, you aren't of the simple mind of the ball or did at School of Education.
I don't suppose I could simply apologize for swiping that painting.
Algie, will you please stop admitting you did it?
Where are Tom Dawkins and Mimosa?
They were dining in the kitchen. Perhaps they didn't hear me. Shall I come fetch them? No need. Here they come now.
Take very long, Inspector.
Oh, God, do not be so anxious. We can always eat up tomorrow.
All right.
But I simply must interrupt.
Oh, very well. Yes. What is it, Lady Monica?
Yes, it's just that all these things you're saying seem to be heading towards some sort of denunciation of Clive. But Clive is the victim of the murder, if you follow my meaning.
I do indeed, Lady Monica. But for as you see, all the events that have transpired here this evening have had but one. Not when they're simply asking for clarification, only when they take me down one of those conversations.
As you wish, sir.
What I am suggesting, Monsieur Perry, is that Jasmine Perdue made a very lucrative living as an extortionist.
One of that people who twist themselves.
Okay.